talk a little bit about the challenges of getting a basketball season started. We've just been listening to Coach Kleiman about what football has had to deal with. Now basketball, a whole new sport opening up here with this pandemic going on and numbers increasing. What kinds of things have you guys had to do that are different in this pandemic as you start a new year?
Well, I think our people have done a great job of, just being diligent and being disciplined, including our players. But, even when you do all that, we still have had our issues with it. It's every day is a new challenge. And my wife just laughs, by 8:30, what call I'm getting, from either the trainer or a coach or somebody, a parent, something, what's going on. There's so many things involved. Obviously the COVID, the contact tracing, but also the mental health. I think that's a really big factor. And, I just hope and pray for our guys. I'm not sure how many bodies we'll have next Wednesday, but I hope we get to play for their sake, because our whole thing we've talked about since last spring, it was a Doc Rivers thing about winning the weight, and we've had to be resilient. We've had to stay with it, and ups and downs and all arounds, and now we're so close to playing. I hope we get an opportunity to play. I know the NCAA called an emergency call yesterday, and I talked to one of my assistant administrators and assistant athletic directors, and he said the first thing he thought, man, they're going to delay the season or whatever. But they didn't. They were, calling about the NCAA tournament and, trying to, they want the tournament and, what's the best way to do it? Maybe at one place. So it's been hard. I will tell you. And, but I'm trying to, keep the faith. I'm trying to be there for our players. I've said many times on these different interviews, right now, everybody needs hope. Everybody needs understanding. Everyone needs a purpose. Everyone needs love and empathy. And that's what I'm trying to do. Obviously, I want to win some games along the way, but probably more importantly, just to be there for the guys and help them through this really tough time.
Have you been able to practice the way you want, or have COVID numbers and tracing kind of
Well, basketball is played with 5 guys on the court, and we've had 7 in practice. We've had 8. We scrimmaged with refs the other day for the first time. They allowed us one time with Big 12 officials, and we had 8 guys that could practice. So we played 4-on-4. So it's different. And again, you make the best of it. Try to keep encouraging the players. They've been great. They've worked very hard. I have no idea how we're going to look when we get out there, and I'm sure other people. I've talked to other coaches. I think they have the same feel, because you don't have the exhibition games, you don't have scrimmages. You've been limited with officials. I've been limited with numbers. So again, you just make the best of it, and hope for our guys' sake they get to play, and we can have a season. I think that's the biggest thing.
One more thing, Coach.
Go ahead, Karen.
Just one more thing, and that is, Coach, you mentioned the NCAA tournament. I think they're trying to get everything in Indianapolis, a bubble kind of thing where all the play is there. Just that idea, do you think that is a smart move, or is that on a college level a whole lot tougher than it sounds?
Well, I think it's not going to be an easy task, just like having a season is not going to be an easy task. Selecting teams, if what we think is going to happen, where somebody might have 15 games and somebody has 20 games and somebody maybe doesn't get to play as many. So, there's a lot of challenges there, but I think the NCAA is thinking ahead. And we even talked about it as Big 12 coaches yesterday. Are we thinking ahead? If we have obviously it's been a big spike. States start shutting down again, lockdowns. Can we go someplace and still have a chance for a season? So, obviously financially, it's not as you can just say it as a coach, but you also somebody's got to back it with the finances. So I think the NCAA they need, obviously, it's a major moneymaker. It's also an unbelievable opportunity for the players. It's part of our culture, March Madness. They want to get to it. And I think they're trying to think ahead and plan for the worst to give themselves a chance to have it. And now I think they feel like if they can limit the travel and have the teams all in one place and really manage it like the NBA did, we have a better chance of having a NCAA tournament, which right now is, I think, the number one goal.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
All right, Bruce, I was going to ask, with contact tracing, if even just one guy gets it, how many people would that sideline at a given time on your team?
Well, it would usually be your apartment or your dorm. We have 2 apartments with 4 guys, and then we have the dorms. One has 2 and one has 3. So it could be as many as that. When depending. And then, the big thing, there's a bunch of devices now that are out there. You talked about Coach Klieman earlier, with football trying to go through some of the stuff they've gone through. Basketball is even rated higher as a COVID spreader than football is. So, we have other things to worry about. But, we've been, as I said, we've had to deal with it. In some ways, we've been fortunate. We haven't been shut down. And we just got to hope for the best. I believe the league is going to say you need 6 scholarship players to have a game. We had talked about 7 players. It's gone back and forth. And, this is one time where walk-ons may be very, very important just to get through a season.
And maybe this is over your head, but I see the university's gone ahead and canceled some other stuff for this weekend. Do you know if you're still going to be allowed to have fans for those first couple games?
I know it's in discussion, whether they're going to allow it. Obviously, commencement just got, I think, canceled this morning, I was told. And, I think President Myers is, obviously our state is not the state of Kansas, one of the higher positive rate percentages in the country. He wants to be cautious, worried about Manhattan community, our hospitalization, all that stuff. So I think they're going to make the best decision for the safety of everybody, even though we'd love to have fans. I think the big thing is just we got to get to games, and that'll help us. It may not be pretty, but it'll be nice just to get there.
All right. Thanks, Bruce.
Yep.
Bruce, I was just curious, what are some of the things that you're talking with your team about on like a daily basis and just trying to, prevent cases and staying healthy? What are some of the ways you're addressing that with your team on a daily basis?
Well, we talk almost every day, and so does our trainer. Rudy's on here, and they've heard the same speech: be diligent, be smart. Every decision you make, whether it's going to the store, whether it's going to get your hair cut, going to a restaurant, all those things. Obviously, wearing the mask is really, really important. That contact tracing, a lot of things it's so sad because a lot of things we emphasize to our guys about being good teammates and giving rides and helping guys out and being around them and enjoying each other. It's almost like backwards. You got to tell them, be careful giving them a ride over 10 minutes because now it's contact tracing. Be careful about, hanging out. There's so many things, and it's been very, very difficult. And that's where the mental health part is so it's not just, it's for everybody. It's really hard. It's very frustrating. Obviously, the vaccine would really help if we could get that sooner than later, but I'm not sure it's going to. But we all got to make the best of it. And I just keep telling the players, do you want a season? Do you want to be on the court? You've worked this hard. You might have to sacrifice a little more and be cautious and make great decisions.
Has the season being this close now kind of made things that much more surreal with how things are getting on the outside, having it that close and still seeing how things are escalating maybe around your team and your bubble. Has that kind of escalated your focus and your team's focus on staying healthy and making those good decisions?
Yeah, there's no doubt. We talked about it constantly. I try to make them aware of things. Some of them are aware of, aware of the numbers because they pay attention because they want the season. So it's just they're on each other. But again, I talked to our Doc Gorel's done an unbelievable job, not just for our K-State, but for the Big 12. And, I just said, how did these guys get it? And if they're telling me the truth, they really have been very cautious. And he said, sometimes you're just in the wrong place. So it's like a lot of things in life. Sometimes things just happen and you got to make the best of it. And, we just go day by day and try to be there for the guys.
And then enough about COVID, but about your team, like what have you learned about your team in these practices? I know you've said that it hasn't really been the way you'd want to practice, but what have you learned about them from what you've seen so far?
Well, they care. They've worked very hard. They've gotten better. I know they're ready for games or something. It would be nice to scrimmage or whatever. We had a scrimmage, like I said, with refs. I think that was enjoyable for them, even though it was hard. And Rudy will tell you 28 minutes of going up and down is not very easy, especially when you haven't had that game-like conditions. So it'll be interesting with our team. I'll be honest. I wish I could tell you definite. Mike McGurl, Casey, Dejuan, Nigel have been, as consistent as anybody. But then, and the other guys like Rudy, it's all new to him. He's learning. Davion, I said before, has been a nice surprise. And the other guys are just slowly but surely getting better. I think Monty and Antonio are starting to take some steps to give us that consistency that you hope from the experienced guys. But again, it's going to be interesting, to say the least. And we'll know more about 3:00 next Wednesday afternoon. What we just went through and how we're gonna be as a team. I think it's gonna be a long process. There's gonna be so much. You see it in football. Every game's a little different, and you got to be patient. I know I saw Coach Kleiman say, "Focus on the mission," and I talk to our guys all the time about it. The mission is to continue to listen, learn, and get better, and that's all we can do. And appreciate every day and make the most of it.
Bruce, we're going to be talking to Davion and Rudy. Could you maybe talk a little bit about just what you've seen from them so far?
Well, I think you'll see Rudy has a great smile. He is just an enjoyable young man. When we started recruiting him, I still remember the first time he didn't have a shirt on. He was in Florida. Every time we were on Zoom, we just tease him all the time about, put a dang shirt on. But I know you're strong, but you can wear a shirt. But he's just a happy-go-lucky guy. He'll tell you it's been hard. It's a big jump from junior college to this level, and then especially with the point guard, he wants to do well. He's tried. He's making strides. So the second player since I've been here, other than Dean Wade, that we got to yell at to shoot. He passes up a lot of open shots because I just think he's thinking and not playing. But slowly but surely, he's starting to make some progress, starting to be a little more aggressive. Every day, he's starting to figure it out. And, he's just been fun to have in our program. Davion, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get on or not, but I said he might be the biggest surprise that, so far. Casey Scott watched our scrimmage the other day, and he called me Monday morning, And first thing he said, we got a big guy that can catch and make plays. So, and you know, he's got good hands. He's worked hard. He's got, again, another young man that has a big heart, good personality, that wants to be good. Now, is he perfect? No, not even close. But, you know, when you see some of the things he does on a daily basis, yesterday he dunked on Joey, and it was like, it was a spin move into a dunk. And he surprised me. He does things I did not think he had in him. So I think he's got a bright future ahead of him.
Just take a couple more questions for Coach, and so we can get Rudy on.
Don't you think Rudy should take off his hat so he looks respectable when you guys tape him?
I think so too, Coach.
Yes, I thank you.
Coach, are you I know you're concerned about a lot as the head coach, but you mentioned it a moment ago with the lack of being able to play open gym, 5-on-5, those kind of things. Is playing those extended times, even with a little bit of depth, one of your biggest concerns going into Wednesday?
Yes, there's no doubt. And I asked them after the scrimmage, what'd you learn from today? And the first thing Rudy raised his hand and said, 28 minutes is a long time. And so you know, that extended minutes and trying to play defense and, you know, get up and down. And we try to do it, but we have so many limited numbers. The last 10 days or so, Rudy will tell you, we've only had 4 guards in practice, so they never get to come out. And I even make up drills 2-on-2, so somebody gets a rep off, 3-on-3, so one guy does. And we've done 5-on-0, we've done shooting. I just every day I challenge our coaches, think of a creative drill to help me. So it's just it hasn't been easy, but our guys have stayed the course. Our coaches have, you know, I told them I could give in and tell you I feel sorry for you and not expect excellence. That was our whole theme yesterday, but I'm not going to do that. I want excellence every day, and if you demanded it yourself, we'll be okay.
I'm curious as to what you would say about where Shane Southwell is as a coach based on working with you prior and accomplishing so many things, and then being gone a year and learning kind of a different way, and just how you see where he's at right now in the grand scheme of things.
Well, he's matured a lot since 10 years ago when he arrived as a player, as a freshman. And, you know, he matured as a player in my time with him. And then when he, you know, went overseas, I think it was a great experience for him just to have that opportunity. Again, you're always, he's a basketball guy. He loves basketball, and he's always learning and listening. So just to play the international game, you learn things and pick things up. Because to me, I knew he was going to be a good coach, just like Chester Fraser and Brad Korn and Matt Painter and Conzo Martin, because they're basketball guys. They're always studying the game and they enjoy it. And you know, he has a bright basketball mind. He's got a good personality. He's matured. And I've had to talk to him once in a while. He'll get frustrated like a young guy and not be as patient. You know, it's especially with the players. And I always tell him, remember what it was like to be a player and how you wanted help. You wanted people to talk to you. But he's done a great job. And I think Rudy will back that up. He still wants to get in practice and once in a while and show him what he can do. And he can't go very long, though. It's Toby Keith's song, right? He can do it one time, but he can't do it much more than that. So it's it's fun to have him as a staff. It's great to have a young guy. I think it along with J.O. and Mason and Nate and Mike, it's good to have some youth on your staff to have great relations with the players, but also keep us young as we go forward.
I don't want to hog all the time, but I wanted to ask this, if you don't mind. I'm curious with the limited numbers and all of those kind of things. Has it been harder installing your offense with a lot of new faces or defense? or maybe it's both? I'm just curious as to what you think there.
I really think the defense. I'm a little bit afraid when the coaches. I asked the coaches what do they most fear the other day, and each one said something different. And I just said I'm not sure about our sustained defense, transition defense, and because we haven't gone up and down when they get tired, and we're gonna have to do a good job of rotating guys. What you alluded to earlier, Wyatt, 3-4 minutes, get them out. Build up some endurance as we go, keep them fresh as possible. And, so but you still want to win. I mean, that's the goal, obviously. So you don't have that exhibition game and scrimmage to go through. So, but again, I'm hoping the other guys are going through some of the same things. I think our guys have bought into our offense, and they're starting to learn. If we can get Rudy to cut a little harder every time and cut with a purpose, I think he'd make some strides and be a little more of a threat. But that'll come with time. So, and then if somebody throws some crazy defense, are we going to be ready for that? It's just, because the coach's press is not a good press. I promise you that. So it's going to be a little different going against some live action.
Thank you.
All right.
We'll do.
Tom.
Is there anybody? Okay. If we'll get.
No, I was going to say, one, we're happy that we were able to get South Dakota in the tournament, 4 teams. Hopefully everyone will be here next week, and we get to have the games. Excited to be on ESPNU. Both of our games, that was for our guys. I know that was a nice lift. Obviously, everything's on ESPN Plus, and then to be able to add a game after Christmas with a team that's close and that can bust down, and with Nebraska Omaha, I think it's a nice lead-in. Hopefully, a lead into the Big 12 Part 2, because we'll already have 2 games done. But looking forward to next week, and we'll be interested. Hopefully you guys will be able to come to the game, and we'll see what happens with that. But just hope we have guys on the court, enough bodies so that we can have a opener, and maybe we'll surprise me and play well. So thank you.